everyone, this is Mrs. Snowbeck. Today we are going to do Unit 4, Lesson 2, and we're going to dig deep into parallelograms. So as you can see from this picture over on the right, we have a quadrilateral with two pairs of opposite sides parallel. Remember, when they have extra arrows on the sides, that means they're parallel. So side BC is parallel to side AD, and side AB is parallel to side CD. So let's write that down. A quadrilateral with two pairs of opposite sides parallel. A quadrilateral with two pairs of opposite sides parallel. That is a parallelogram. Parallelograms have many properties. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then opposite legs are congruent. So you can see over here on the right that opposite sides have tick marks on them that match the single tick marks and the double tick marks. That is a sign that it is a parallelogram. So if you saw a shape like this, that's enough information to say, oh, it's a parallelogram. So if both pairs of opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then it's a parallelogram. Same thing with angles. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then opposite angles are congruent. You can see angle J and L are congruent, and also angles K and M are congruent. The converse is also true. If you saw this shape and you saw that the opposite angles are congruent, then that's enough information to say that it is a parallelogram. So if both pairs of opposite angles of a quadrilateral are congruent, then that shape has to be a parallelogram. Also, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, consecutive angles are supplementary. Remember, supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. So consecutive means right in a row. So let's say this angle right here is 80, then the one next to it would have to be 100. Consecutive angles right in a row would be supplementary. This would be 80, this would be 100. All right, let's use that knowledge now, and let's try to find the values of x and y, knowing that this figure on the right, we want it to be a parallelogram. Well, if we want it to be a parallelogram, we want opposite sides to be congruent. So one of the things we can do is we can solve for x and y. I noticed that this side over here has an x and a y, but this side up here, side FG, only has an x. I would start with the FG. So the 6x plus 3 is congruent to the opposite side, which is 15. They're equal to each other. Subtract your 3. 6x equals 12. Divide by 6. X equals 2. So now we have x. We're going to take that x, we're going to plug it in right here. So we're going to have 4 times 2 minus 2y, and that's going to be equal to the side opposite of it, which is over here. These two sides are opposite, so that's equal to 2. So let's simplify. 8 minus 2y equals 2. Subtract your 8. It's kind of weird, we get a negative, but that's all right. Negative 2y equals negative 6. Divide by negative 2. Y equals 2 negatives. If you divide those, you get a positive. So y equals 3. Find the values of x and y so that this figure is a parallelogram. Well, if it's a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. So angles A and C should be the same size. So let's start with that. Y plus 10 should equal 2y minus 40. By the way, I don't think I could have started with angle B because I don't know what angle D is across from it. So let's continue on here. We're going to subtract y. add your 40. And we get y equals 50. Now, we still need to find x, and so to do that, I think we're going to have to plug in y. You can plug it into either a or c. I'm going to plug it in right here. So the measure of angle A is going to be 50 plus 10, or in other words, 60. So this corner is 60 degrees right in here. Remember, consecutive angles are supplementary. So what we can do is we can say 4x and 60. 4x plus the 60 added together should equal 180 because consecutive angles are supplementary. Subtract your 60. You have 4x equals 120. Divide by 4, and x equals 30. Please pause the video and try number 3. When you're done, unpause the video. There's more information here than you need, so I'm going to decide to use angles J and L. If this is a parallelogram, those two angles will be congruent. So the 2x minus 1 would be equal to 75 degrees. Add 1. 2x equals 76. Divide by 2. And x equals 38. And I think we're done. It just says find the value of x. Here are a couple of more things to know about parallelograms. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. So you might be saying, what's a diagonal? Well, diagonals go from one corner to the opposite corner. So that red segment that I just drew, that's a diagonal. And then another diagonal goes from B to D. So this is a diagonal and this is a diagonal. And if the shape is really a parallelogram, then the diagonals bisect each other. Well, I can tell ABCD is a parallelogram because opposite sides are congruent. See these tick marks? And then see the double tick marks. So this is definitely a parallelogram because opposite sides are congruent. Therefore, I know this diagonal gets cut in half and this diagonal gets cut in half. They bisect each other. On the converse, it's also true. If you switch that around, if you see a shape where the diagonals bisect each other, then that's enough information to know that it is a parallelogram. So find the value of z for the figure to be a parallelogram. Well, if it's really going to be a parallelogram, the diagonals bisect each other. Those two should be congruent. And so 3z minus 4 should equal z plus 5. Minus z. 2z minus 4 equals 5. Add 4. 2z equals 9. Divide by 2. Z equals 4.5. Please pause the video and try number 5. So you're supposed to find x, y, and z. I don't think it really matters where you start. If this is a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. So the 5x should equal the 27. Divide by 5. X turns out to be 5.4. If we wanted to find y, diagonals bisect each other. So the 2y minus 5 equals the y plus 4. Those will be congruent to each other. The diagonals get bisected. So subtract your y. Y minus 5 equals 4. Y equals 9. And then finally for z, this is maybe the trickiest one. So I see the 3z down here. Remember, if it's a parallelogram, your parallel sides get cut by a transversal. So we can have what's called alternate interior angles. The 3z would equal the 33. because those are alternate interior angles, and if the lines are parallel, they are congruent. So Z is 11. Number 6 is probably the trickiest one because it's been a while since you've had to solve a problem like this. We're going to solve for x and y, assuming that this is a parallelogram because opposite sides are congruent. But do you see how, like, if you look at the top and the bottom, one has a y and one has an x? So if you go 2y equals 38 minus 9x, you're not going to be able to solve that for a number. Same thing with the left and the right. The 5y equals 3x minus 7. Can't solve that one either for x or y because there's two variables in it. So what you're going to have to do is think back, way back to algebra last year, where you had a system of equations and you have to solve a system. Now, there's many ways to do this. You can use substitution, elimination, graphing, but the way that we're going to do this is we're going to use elimination. So we're going to try to get some of the variables to cancel out. The first thing we need to do is we need to line up our variables. So I'm just going to reorder this a little bit. So 2y equals, I'm going to put the negative 9x first. So it's going to go negative 9x plus 38. And then I'm going to have 5y equals 3x minus 7. Now we still have our same system of equations, but you can see the y's are lined up with each other, the x's are lined up with each other, and the numbers or the constants are lined up with each other. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply either one row or two rows by a number. We're trying to eliminate one of the variables. I'm going to take this bottom row and I'm going to multiply by 3, because if I do that, imagine distributing 3 to all of these things, I'll end up with a 9x, a positive 9x, which will cancel out with the negative 9x. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to recopy down the first equation, 2y equals negative 9x plus 38. I just copied that one. But now for the second equation, I'm going to distribute that 3. So 3 times 5y is 15y. 3 times 3x is 9x. And 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. Now what you're going to do is you're going to add your equations together. So we wind up with 17y. The negative 9x and the positive 9x cancel. And then 38 minus 21 is 17. Divide both sides by 17, and y equals 1. So we have now solved for y. Yay! To solve for x, we're going to substitute that into one of our equations. I usually use one of the originals, but you can substitute it in anywhere. So I'm just going to take that 1 and I'm going to plug it in right here. So it's going to look like this. 5 times 1 equals 3x minus 7. That's 5 equals 3x minus 7. Add 7. 12 equals 3x. Divide by 3. 4 equals x. And we have done it. We have solved the system by using a method called elimination. X is 4, y is 1. Last but not least, parallelograms have one more property. If you have one pair of opposite sides of a quadrilateral, and that pair of sides is both parallel and congruent on the same set of sides, then that's going to be enough information to know that this is a parallelogram. So take a look at the picture. Do you see how AB and CD, they both have tick marks and arrows? It means they're parallel and they're congruent on the same set of sides. That's enough to know that you have a parallelogram. A quick recap of the 5 properties of parallelograms. The first one is if you have a quadrilateral and both pairs of sides of opposite sides are parallel, then that's going to be enough to know, yep, that's a parallelogram. And I just drew a little picture of it over there. The second property is if you have a quadrilateral and both pairs of sides are congruent. So the second one is if you have opposite sides congruent, that is enough to know that it's a parallelogram. The third one, if you have opposite angles congruent, so like this angle and this angle across from each other, if they're the same size, and then the other pair of opposite angles. You have to have both pairs of opposite angles congruent, but if you do, that's enough to know that it's a parallelogram. Number 4, if you have a quadrilateral and the diagonals bisect each other. So if this side is congruent to that side and this side is congruent to that side, then that is enough to know it is a parallelogram. And then the last one, which we just talked about, if you have a parallelogram where you have one pair of sides that is parallel and congruent on the same set of sides, then that's enough to know you have a parallelogram. So go to number 7. Number 7, do you think we have enough information to know if that is a parallelogram? If you're thinking yes, opposite sides are congruent, then you're correct. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent, so it is enough to know that it is a parallelogram. Take a look at number 8. Is there enough information there to know if it's a parallelogram? Well, we have one pair of opposite sides, but not both. And we have one pair of opposite angles, but not both. So we do not have enough information there. We do not know if that's a parallelogram. You either have to have both sets of sides or both angles. Take a look at number 9. Is there enough information to know if it's a parallelogram? Yes. It's like number 5. You have one pair of sides that is both parallel and congruent on the same pair of sides. So it is a parallelogram. Take a look at number 10. Nope, not enough information. We only have one pair of opposite sides congruent, and we need both pairs to know if it's a parallelogram. Awesome. So now I'd like you guys to try Unit 4 Practice 2. If you have questions, please let me know. Have a great night.